Hello, dear readers. It is time for me to tell the tale of Knightbeard. Buckle up because this will be one hell of a ride. Part 1, I will cover the first 2 months of interactions between myself, Knightbeard, and a few other friends that were involved. The players. Me. Chaos. I'm a bigger girl, but I do what I can to make myself clean and presentable at all times. I tend to be pretty chill and forgiving, and I will often let things slide because I do not like to waste energy being angry. I like to play a variety of different games, and I do dip my toes into nerd culture from time to time, but I am not so deep into it that it's my whole life. And yes, I will admit to G5 MLP being a guilty pleasure of mine. WK, the Whitest Knightbeard. I met him at a bake sale some friends and I had hosted to raise funds to help out another friend. Stood up for us in the face of an absolutely abhorrent choosing beggar, and if you want to read that story, I will post a link at the end. We also happen to share world history class. He's a bigger guy, but not so big it's obnoxious, and he actually stays relatively clean. X, a guy in one of my classes at the time who had a massive crush on me. He was actually pretty cool at first, and we did date for about a year, but broke it off because of reasons that I will not detail here. We were not actually dating during the first part. He is also in my world history class. Teacher, original name as original. Sue me. Please don't. My world history teacher, usually a pretty guy, but eventually loses all of his chill due to his shenanigans. RD, an athletic friend who was also part of the bake sale, also is completely asexual and makes it very clear and plain. Paul, a guy friend of mine who kind of looks like a young Paul McCartney from the Beatles. He's the most passive person I have ever met, and is just an all-round sweetheart. Rumi, a housemate. He is a bigger guy and a high-functioning autistic. I actually did not know about it until 2 months into sharing an apartment with him when he told me. A pretty cool guy. Our story. It was about a month after the bake sale debacle and the new semester was starting. My first class for the week had been pretty normal, and my second class was in the middle of the week, world history. I would come to hate going to this class eventually, only because of the bullshit that went on. I got to class, and I sat next to Paul, whom I had been friends with for the last year and a half. I was glad to see a friendly face, and we got to talking about some movies and anime we were watching while we waited for the rest of the class to arrive. About half of the class has filled in when I hear a familiar voice. One that I will come to dread. Oh, wow, Chaos! I didn't know you went to this school! I turned my head to see WK, the beard from the bake sale. Oh, hi, WK. Yeah, I just took last semester off because I was feeling a little burnt out. I turned back to talking to Paul again. I'm in the game development program. WK puffs out his chest in pride. I'll bet you're in the baking program because your cupcakes were absolutely to die for. I shook my head. Oh no, I'm in the animation program, so was Paul. We actually worked on a small pilot animatic in our first class together. Paul waves and says hi. Oh, that's cool. WK sits on the other side of me, which I did not really mind. He seems okay enough. So, Chaos, do you watch any anime? I nod, and his eyes light up again. Wow, it's so nice to meet a girl that likes anime. I haven't found anyone around here that do. That statement sticks out to me because of the school we're at. Practically everyone here watches anime of some kind, but I decided to shrug it off. Try talking to more people then. Everyone here likes to watch it. Paul spoke up. WK did not respond, either because he did not know what to say, or he decided he did not want to look like an idiot. Chaos, what anime do you like to watch? I like to try a variety of them, but the ones I really watch are Bleach, One Punch Man, Dragon Ball Z, Food Wars, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and a few others I cannot really remember the names off right now. WK frowns at my choice of viewing material. Really? Such a pretty girl like you watches violent anime like that? I would have thought you were into Pretty Cure or Magical Girl Madoka. Magical Girl anime hasn't really been interesting me since I was 15. It's really not that for me anymore. He continues to frown, but drops it. Teacher comes in and greets the class, and the rest of the 2 hours pass without major incident. After class, WK pulls me aside. Hey, Chaos, can I come over to your place and watch some anime with you? I shift nervously. I did not really want people over all the time because of how disorganized it all was, and I was sort of wanting to go home and get my work done. Sorry, WK, but I would really rather not to have people over today. Maybe another time? He looks crestfallen, mutters an okay, then begins to shuffle away, looking back every few steps with longing glances, hoping that I will change my mind. I don't, and I make my way out to my car and drive back to my apartment. The next 2 weeks are much the same until the 4th week of classes roll around. I forget exactly how we got into the discussion of circumcision in medieval times, but we did. This guy, X, was sitting behind me and blurted out some really dark and fucked up joke. I'll admit that I absolutely love dark humor, and I could not help but burst out laughing at the joke. It was wholly inappropriate, and I loved it. A few other people were also chuckling, and WK was the only one not even smirking, instead muttering about how it was in bad form to make a joke like that. WK did not stop me after class that day, saying that he had a doctor's appointment and he'd see me again later. X and I got a chance to walk and talk in the halls, and we agreed to meet at any place to watch a movie. We wound up getting part of a season of Game of Thrones with my roommate. He had a DVD set. Skip to the 7th week of classes, and WK seems to have gotten over the initial shock of the filthy jokes that now streamed from behind us every class. I did have to ask X to tone it down during class hours. Even I was getting to feel they were a bit much. Teacher absolutely hated them. Paul and I were talking about our builds in Skyrim. I freaking love that game. WK is sitting beside us again and is huffling. Chaos, I can't believe you play such a trash game. There are so many bugs. You could play Icedale. It's a much better Elder Scrolls game. He continues to prattle on and on about the game, even ignoring the teacher when he called for everyone to pay attention. Teacher gets a little irritated. WK, would you please stop talking? Class is about to start. WK ignores him and continues on about the great things with Icedale. Side note, I have played Icedale, and I will do agree that's a good game. It's just not for me. I later told WK this, and he got mildly offended. WK, class is starting, so could you... Chaos, do not interrupt me when I'm educating you on proper gaming etiquette. Girls like you need men to tell you which games are good, because if you're left to your own devices, you play trash like Fallout and Skyrim. Teacher finally comes over with his big-ass history textbook and slams it down on the table in front of WK. He got so startled he gave a very unmanly scream and fell over in his chair, hitting the floor with a loud boom and shaking the whole room. Everyone was quiet for a moment, and then we heard it. WK started crying. He got up, screamed at the teacher not to interrupt people, and it was rude. Then he ran out of the room, crying harder. He came back in the middle of class, and I just felt so uncomfortable sitting next to him for the rest of the day. When it was done, I began to head to one of the critique labs to work on some homework for another class. WK following me, wanting to talk to me. When we're in the lab, he starts right up where he left off before, as if nothing had happened. I try to ignore him while I work. Then he places a hand on my back to see if I'm listening. Now, because of some things that have happened in my past I do not really like to talk about, I do not like to be touched without being asked first, and WK had never even thought to ask if it was okay. I reacted by leaping out of my chair and stepping back. Chaos! What's wrong? Why did you do that? WK stands up, looking offended. WK, please do not touch me. I step back. I really, really do not like to be touched. But I was just helping you to see if you were paying attention. Do not touch me. I was practically shaking. At all. Sorry, I just wanted to know if you were listening. I'm honestly not. Can't you see I'm working? And then this asshole goes and shuts off the computer I'm working at. Not just turning off the screen. No, he bends down and shuts off the tower. There. Now you're not. I see red. WK, what the hell? I still had all the base files still on my flash drive, which was already tucked into my pocket, but that was still a good hour of work he just deleted. That's due tomorrow, you asshole! I have decided that I'm officially done with this bull, and I quickly leave. returning the critique pen to the cage and checking out a tablet that will work on my laptop at home, with WK following me and continuing to prattle on like nothing is wrong. Why didn't I just get a tablet and work from home in the first place? Because my laptop at the time was just a little bit slower than the comps at school. I'm heading for the front door when out of the corner of my eye, I see WK reaching for me again. Not this time. I literally leaped to stay out of his grasp. Then I whirled on him with the angriest look I could muster. WK, I told you, do not touch me! A security guard stands up and walks over as WK is continuing to talk. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to come with me. WK is startled when the guard speaks. What? Why? He starts again in defensive stance. I haven't done anything wrong. Sir, I will not ask you again. Please come with me. The guard stands between me and him, and I see my chance, and I run so far in my car that I swear I had a mock cone worn around me. When I finally got in and drove off, I saw WK rush out of the building to catch me, and I did not dare stop for a second. The 8th week of class rolled around, and teacher was out sick. A replacement had already been called in for the week. WK was constantly ignoring her and rolling his eyes whenever she told him something, muttering about how women should not be allowed to teach men history because men already knew history. They wrote it all, after all. I made a point to ignore him and managed to act like I did not realize he was even there. The sub eventually gives up on him and continues on, doing her best to ignore all his little remarks. When class lets out, I pack up and head out the door towards the parking lot. I see RD hanging out with some of my other friends as I was walking, and I give them a wave and ask how they were. The ground shakes slightly, and I hear a cry go up. Hey, Chaos! Why didn't you wait for me? I want to talk to you! WK is reaching for me, attempting to grab my shoulder. RD sees this and puts herself between the two of us. Oh, good day, milady RD! He tips his fedora. How are you today? I was fine until I saw you trying to grab Chaos. I thought you knew not to touch her after last week. I had already told RD what had happened. I was just going to tap her to see if she was paying attention. She hasn't talked to me all day. Well, you really shouldn't touch people if they do not like it. She told you not to, and you should respect her wishes. Oh, come on. I'm a nice guy. I'm not going to hurt her or anything. He gives a smirk. I just want to ask if she got a chance to try Ice Tail yet. I've had the game since I was a kid, WK, and yes, I have played it. It's fun, but it's just not something I enjoy playing so much. He got this offended look on his face. How can you say that? It's an absolute masterpiece! I shrug. It's just not for me. Everyone likes different things. I look him dead in the eye. Just like how I do not like to be touched, and I would appreciate it if you did not try to touch me again. Why are you mad at me? He starts to pout. I'm not mad. I'm just frustrated that you do not seem to understand that it's not okay to do that. But why, though? Because I do not like to be touched. End of story. That's all you need to know. He starts to say something else, but thinks the better of it and sulks. I'm talking with RD and the others for a bit before WK looks at her with a cheeky grin. Hey, RD, do you like anime? Christ on a cracker. Not really, WK. I'm too busy for that stuff. Oh, well, I think you should give it a chance. If you want, you can come over to my place and I can show you one I really think you make a great cosplay for. RD crinkles her nose and looks at me while motioning to the girls' bathroom. I nod. Not right now, WK. Hey, Chaos, can I borrow a girl thing from you? I ran out. I give a smile. Of course, RD. We walked into the bathroom and I stayed in there until RD's ride came to pick her up. While we were in there, she told me how much WK was creeping her out, and she could literally feel him undressing her with his eyes. We both agreed that he got too creepy too fast for our tastes. When it finally came time to leave, we noticed WK was waiting right outside the door to the bathroom we were in, when he was momentarily distracted by the guard telling him not to loiter so close to the girls' bathroom door. We both bolted and got into our respective vehicles. Ladies and gents, this is the end of part 1 of WK's tale. I am not done yet. In our next episode, WK tries his hand at courtship and is repeatedly shot down.